Shrutismritipuranānaṃ ālayam karuṇālayam namāmi bhagavadpādam Shankaraṃ lokashankaraṃ Shankaram Shankaracharyaṃ Keshavam Bādarayanam Sutra Bhashya Kritau Vande Bhagavantau Punah Punah Ishvaro Gururātmeti Murti Bheda Vibhagine vyomni dakshināmurtaye namaha. Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahano Bhunaktu Saha Karavāvahai Tejasvinavadītamastu mā viद्विषावहै. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. The source book for this teaching is Veda, especially the last portion of the Veda. All through Veda, this teaching is there. But deliberately, this subject matter is taught at the end of the Veda. Therefore, it has gained a name Vedanta, Vedanam Antaha Vedanta. That which is the end portion of the Veda. Vedanta is just a name pointing out the subject matter at the end of every Veda. Therefore, Vedas are 4 in number, and therefore Vedantas also are plural. Vedantaha, Vedanteshu, like this in the Vedantas, Vedanteshu, that is the meaning. And therefore, it's not a name for a particular philosophy or anything. The word meaning is at the end of the Veda, the end portion of the Veda. Now, these Vedantas, otherwise called Upanishads, are the source book of this teaching. There are books which are later written, and you find Vyasa in his Mahabharata places the Gita in the middle, which is a dialogue between Krishna and Arjuna. That is also Vedanta, means the subject matter of Upanishads. Then the Vedanta Shastram, the subject matter of Vedanta, is analyzed in the form of sutras. We have a particular form of literature which is called sutra. And the sutra is a brief sentence So minimum words and minimum number also. Minimum number of sutras and minimum number of words. So which there's a style involved in that. Once it is said, it is not repeated. If that is the topic, then it is not the word that introduces the topic, and then there is a discussion. The introducing word does not occur again. In Brahma Sutras, there is only one time Brahman, the word is used. All other sutras don't refer Brahman because all the other sutras are talking about Brahman. And therefore, in the sutra, Yoga Sutra, Patanjali's Yoga Sutra, the subject matter is yoga, Ashtanga Yoga. Yogaha chitta vritti nirodhaha. Again, yoga, the word is not used. It's all yoga. And therefore you have a certain style of writing. This sutra literature is meant for easy memory. And it is initiated by teaching, creating a tradition. So the author teaches his own students, and thus the tradition of unlocking the sutra is initiated. And these sutras are either analytical or descriptive. They present a subject matter like yoga is presented, grammar is presented, Sanskrit grammar, the whole language is presented, descriptive, then analytical. Brahma Sutras analyze the subject matter. So these Upanishads and the Bhagavad Gita, then the Brahma Sutras analyzing the subject matter of Upanishad and the Gita also. And various schools of thought obtaining at that time. And against that background, we understand Vedanta very properly. Therefore, we had some sparring partners. Vedantins had sparring partners. The Sankhya and other fellows were just sparring partners. And so they would consistently argue, they take a stand and consistently argue. So then there is a huge literature, Vedanta literature, authored by different people, different acharyas, teachers, and presenting Vedanta either just the subject matter or presenting Vedanta with certain arguments against other contentions. Therefore, two types of Vedanta books are there. For a person who wants to know Vedanta, what is Vedanta? That kind of books alone, the subject matter of Vedanta, that alone is presented. Some of them are attributed to Shankara. Some of them, of course, are from different authors, like Vidyaranya and Sureshwara. Like this, there are different authors. Some modern authors also are there. It's not Sanskrit alone is Vedanta. The style was Sanskrit, the language was Sanskrit. So it can be also in other languages. The entire Vedanta is available in Hindi. One Nischala Dasha wrote 2 books. One is Vichara Sagaram, the other is Vritti Prabhakaram. Vichara Sagaram presents Vedanta, Vritti Prabhakaram analyzes Vedanta. In Tamil we have. And some other languages I'm sure are there. That's all Vedanta. Vedanta Prakaranas. Vedanta Prakaranas. Presenting Vedanta. And the other Shankaracharyas also were there. Because even today, the minimum there may be 25 Shankaracharyas. 4 or 5 are official. And these 4 or 5 people do not accept, recognize other people who call themselves Shankaracharyas. In Karnataka, at least 20 Shankaracharyas are there. And they say, these Shankaracharyas occupying the Śrīhariṃ mutt, when they travel, they go to Kashi and other places, they always used to travel, walking, or on a palanquin, they will travel. Somewhere they will die. There itself, there will be one disciple there, and because that puja should not have any chuti, that puja means there will be an altar, mobile altar that will be taken, and that puja has to be continued, and therefore one fellow will be made Shankaracharya, one Swami who is traveling with him and will be made Shankaracharya, and that becomes a mutt. But the original mutt that was there, that is again another person is appointed, and that is also mutt. They will say this is the mutt and that is not the mutt. And therefore, you have 25 mutts. That means 20 Shankaracharyas died in different places. And therefore, so you have this kind of mutts. Then other Shankaracharyas also travel Karnataka. And from other mutts, they also have their own mutts, branch. So like they all have become independent Shankaracharyas. And some of them are very learned people. They also write. And then there is a name Shankaracharya, written by Shankaracharya. It's all palm leaves. All the books that we have got are from palm leaves. You must know that. These palm leaf manuscripts are printed. As Shankaracharya, we have a huge Vedanta literature in the name of Shankaracharya, Adi Shankaracharya. Atmabodha, Vivekachudamani. And there are so many books are there, small and big. And the scholars always, modern scholars always contend that this is not Shankaracharya, that is not Shankaracharya. It's not original Shankaracharya, it's later Shankaracharya. The tradition doesn't doesn't dispute all this. They have got Shraddha. They have some faith and therefore they accept it as it is. Some of the Pandits know it may not be Shankaracharya, but they don't talk about it. It doesn't matter. It's all Shankaracharya. Even the current Shankaracharya is looked upon as Shankaracharya. The tradition has that kind of reverence to the parampara, the hierarchy. This Aparoksha Anubhuti is one of them, one of these books, attributed to Shankara. So I have been talking for the past 2 or 3 years, 2 years, 2 years in these 2-week camps. So we have reached about 56 or 57 verses. And it's another 60 verses are there, 60 or more verses are there. Now if you want to complete, we have to go gudu. We have to go fast. If you tell me that you need not complete Swamiji, let us take it easy, then I will take it easy. Then as far as I can go, I will go. The one advantage here is you can start anywhere, you can stop anywhere. Because every verse talks about the same thing. This is a great advantage in all subject matter where there is a progression. There is no way of, you can't start somewhere in the middle. But here you can start somewhere in the middle and it is the same subject matter. Of course, it needs little introduction. Just a little. And if you have been hearing this subject matter, then you don't need even introduction. There may be some who never heard this. How many are there? First time coming to Aparokṣa Anubhuti? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, quite a few are there. And therefore a small introduction will be there. Anyway, let me have the satisfaction I have started. The first 2 verses are prayer, and I will read that. Om śrīhariṃ paramānandamupadeṣṭāramīśvaram vyāpakaṃ sarvalokānāṃ kāraṇaṃ tam namāmyaham aparokṣānubhūtirvai procyate mokṣasiddhaye sadbhireṣā prayatnena vīkṣaṇīyā muhurmuhuḥ. Prayer verses. śrīhariṃ paramānandamupadeṣṭāram avyayam vyāpakaṃ sarvalokānāṃ kāraṇaṃ tam namāmyaham aham namāmi. That is the sentence. I salute. I salute aham namāmi. I salute. Before beginning the book, there is always a prayer. This prayer can be suggestive, it can be mental, but there will be suggestive word, or there can be a sentence, a verse, 1, 2, 3, 4, there can be verses. Here there are 2 verses. 1 verse prayer, the The other verse introduces the topic. Only one verse is a prayer. Aham namāmi, I salute. Whom namāmi? The object. śrīhariṃ namāmi. Shriya yuktaha harihi, śrīhariṃ. The one who is always united with Shri, Lakshmi. śrīhariṃ parameshwaraha, Narayana. Or Śrīhari may be the name of his own teacher. And therefore both Ishvara and teacher are combined. That's the style also. And here the teaching is going to be about one sentence. The sentence is Tat Tvam Asi. You are that. You are Ishvara. Very big sentence. 3 words. You are Ishvara. You are that. That from which everything has come, by which everything is sustained, unto which everything goes back. That cause of this entire world, whom we say Ishvara, that Ishvaraha, Tamasi, you are. So, it is a blasphemous sentence. And one fellow asked me, I was talking in Stanford, and some people were there, they were talking on seminar. One born again came, and he asked me, what do you think about Jesus? And whatever you think, that's what I think. So I told him, I think as God, and for me also is God. Do you think that he is a savior? No. I don't think as a savior. I take him as God. And he can save you, of course he can save you by making you as good as himself. I said that. Otherwise you can't be saved. He has to make you that you are a potential Christ. So you have to die and resurrect yourself. So he can do that. You are as good as Christ. Jesus can make you. He looked at me like this. Then only I said, I have done something blasphemous for him. He can't handle it. Because the contradiction is obvious. You are means you, who are you? That you is a small fellow, insignificant, subject to every insect. And this guy is Ishvara means what? How will anybody swallow this, assimilate this sentence? You are Ishvara. It's too much to swallow. And the reconciling the contradiction, you have to create that contradiction because there is a truth in that. So in spite of this difference between Jiva and Ishvara, you and Ishvara, the Lord, in spite of obvious difference, there is oneness. That is how every equation is. On the look of it, it is something different. The meaning reveals the truth of an equation, the oneness. And therefore here, the topic itself in the prayer, śrīhariṃ, next one is Ananda, paramānandam. Ananda doesn't exist anywhere except you. The moment you say Ananda, it is you. You don't require to say anything else. It is you. Ananda doesn't exist anywhere. Ananda means happiness. So you have to be that happiness. And it is centered on you. Therefore, śrīhariṃ is paramānanda. An Ananda that is not born and that is not gone, that is paramānanda. And therefore there is the equation here, śrīhariṃ paramānandam. The śrīhari, or we can say śrīhari, who is essentially limitless, paramānanda, śrīhariṃ paramānandam, upadeṣṭāram avyayam īśvaram. Upadeṣṭāram, who is the teacher? Lord Krishna as the teacher, Ishvara as teacher, as the source of knowledge, and the source of all knowledge, including this knowledge. So Parameshwaram, as the source of all knowledge. So as the source of knowledge, if he is all knowledge, then he is the source of all knowledge. In this all knowledge, I am born ignorant, even though there is all knowledge, Ishvara, all knowledge, as we will see. I am born ignorant. If I am born ignorant, then I must have a faculty to remove that ignorance. And that is the faculty I have. Buddhi. You have that buddhi, I have that buddhi, which has to be employed in order to get rid of this ignorance. Certain means of knowledge we have to get rid of the ignorance of what I objectify. An object I may take. So the fruit, I don't know what this fruit is, whether it is edible or it is poisonous. And people, so if they don't know, the fruit looks so nice and it is so red and nice and so pala and shining, and you feel like eating maybe poisonous blessed thing. And there are fruits like that. You can't touch it. And mushroom fellows. Not mushroom fellows means mushroom likers, okay? So mushroom likers. So they just think, they look at this mushroom, they go on plucking this mushroom and picking up these mushrooms. They go picking up the mushrooms. Then they eat, and afterwards they get up after 3 days. Where am I? Who am I? And so some of them are psychedelic. And one can die also. People die of mushrooms. Yeah. Mushroom. Mushroom can make your life a mushroom. So these are mushrooms. And therefore, object is there, you see, but you don't know anything about it. Whether it is edible or it is not edible, what it is all about. Some of them you cannot experiment, So there is one poison ivy here, and so somewhere, we are not in places where we walk and all that, but little off you go, you will see them. And they are very shiny. They have got some kind of substance, very oily substance. And that substance, you think, you are a natural person. You go for natural, all cosmetics, natural cosmetics, and you find this has got some substance. Oh, it may be very good, and put it like this. So blisters. I tell you, it's not an ordinary thing. It's all natural. Don't get carried away by these natural people. They are unnatural. Because everything is natural. So-called artificial also is natural. There are a lot of what you call natural which are not good for you. There are some natural things which are good for you. And there are a lot of artificial things. Artificial means also from natural. It is all from natural. May be good for you, may not be good for you. Therefore, you have to don't join these natural people. And so this is all pendulum. Find out what is good for you. In this property, there is a trail, walking trail. Both sides you will find plants having long, so these white flowers, like bugle. You will find long white flowers. It's called datura, and it has got fruit. When it becomes ripe, you take that, you will drop all your clothes and go. And even though it is winter, you don't mind what is winter. And you are burning so much and then you drop everything. And this is what they do. Some sadhus get themselves like this cheated. In Benares, these pandas, they will come and give prasad. Prasad peda. Never take, if you go to Benares, never take peda. Never take peda. Peda means this milk cake. And then they will give this peda. This fellow will eat. In this tantura is there. This particular fruit is there. And that's it. And then this fellow peda, he comes to the room, this fellow follows also. And then afterwards, he doesn't know what he's doing. And all his bag and everything gone, and then he drops all the clothes and he is walking all over. And he picks up what all that is there and then goes. So easy way of robbing somebody. Tantura. Natural, very natural. This is oleander. Not here, but it is there all over California. In the middle of the road you got oleander. Nice flowers, smells so well. And it has got, again, fruits. That can give you long trip, never return. One-way traffic. You go, that's all. One-way travel, you go, that's it. Very dangerous, natural. It's all natural. Natural flora, natural fauna. I just want you to understand what is important. We are given the faculty of knowledge. We need to know what it is. Whether it is good for me and all that, we need to know to live in this world. That's why the faculty is given to live and to know. And because you are self-conscious, and naturally you have to know the self also. Triple responsibility. Triple. A carnivorous animal, in order to survive, it has to find food and an animal. And so it's always vegetarian animal. And therefore a carnivorous animal will kill a deer, a rabbit, according to its size, whatever that is available. And therefore, if it is too hungry, nothing is available, even a rabbit is okay. Otherwise, a tiger, it will just get a deer, or a cow, or a calf, and all that. They all do like this. There's only one thing they have to do: kill an animal. A herbivorous animal has to find food, and it has to come out to graze. And these fellows are waiting. Because they have to come out to graze. They have to live daily, they have to do. They come out to graze, and these fellows are waiting there. If there is a water, they have to go to the water side. And then, therefore, water hole is there. There these fellows will be waiting. Predators. And therefore, the herbivorous animals have to find food, and also they should make sure they don't become food for these fellows. They are like Hindus. In India, the Hindus have got the responsibility of learning Hinduism, scriptures and all that, too vast, whole lifetime is necessary. And they have to live that life. It's a very, very strict dharma and all that. They have to. That is one thing. They have to live a Hindu life and make sure that the predators don't get you. The missionaries don't get you. So you have to follow two things. You have to protect yourself from these people and then live. Two jobs are there. This is just by the way. And therefore, if there is any evolution in this, definitely vegetarian animal is more evolved, I can say, from the carnivorous animal. If I look at the problems that the human beings have got, that again becomes more evident to me. Two jobs they have got. And human being has got three jobs. He has to find his food. He has to protect herself, herself from all other sources, which are all other forces, which are inimical to him, starting from invisible virus and bacteria and visible insects and all that. And plus neighbors, friends, drug addicts, all this. So there are so many enemies. You have to protect yourself from all of them. Two jobs, like a vegetarian animal. Plus you have to protect from yourself. Because you are conscious of yourself. You have to protect yourself from yourself. You can become your own enemy. Atma atmanaha shatruhu. You are your own enemy. You think yourself to get depressed. You think yourself to be sad and whatever. No say over anything. This is because you are a self-conscious person. And consciousness in a human being is uninhibited. Uninhibited means there is no let or hindrance. Free. 100% consciousness. Don't think we are going to get some 100% consciousness spiritually. Even now 100% consciousness. It cannot be hidden. It cannot be in any way inhibited. It is 100% consciousness. You are conscious of the world. You are conscious of yourself. That is the evolution. Three jobs you have got. You have to protect yourself from yourself. That's why you want diversion all the time. You need diversion. You have to divert yourself from yourself. And that's not easy. If you want something was interesting to you, fascinating to you in the beginning, afterwards it's no more fascinating. It's not enough to divert you. It becomes monotonous. It's like a hit song. Originally it was a hit song. You are always hearing. And then I'm doing it okay now. And first it's a hit song. Then afterwards it is a hit song. So nobody cares. It gathers dust. You don't have a heart to give away. It is there. All old song. Monotonous. You grow out of it. Even if I take you to heaven, you will grow out of it. It's okay. Is there any other place to go? Because the one who goes there is you. The issue is centered on yourself. Being self-judging, because free. You've got a buddhi. Buddhi means the capacity, the faculty of knowing. So, you have to take yourself to be somebody. And whatever that is available for you, you will take, because you are an individual within the confines of this body, an enclosed person. That's how it looks. And there is a reality about it. And that's what you will feel I am. Afterwards you don't like that. Because that immediately spells on you a certain smallness. There is a smallness. Then smallness means a meanness also. And therefore you want to always get better, get ahead of others. Competition, all these. There's not much difference between animals, dogs and human beings afterwards. And so this conclusion about myself, if it has got to be corrected, the means of knowledge I have with me, which are meant only for understanding the world, to find out whether this is edible or this is not edible to begin with, to survive. And then afterwards to find some comfort, etc. We have got more knowledge. We have got email and afterwards iPod and e-phone and things like that is all. Without all these also we were happy, and with all these also we are unhappy. So it's not anything that we cannot be without it. We were without it. In our own lives we have seen all this. Even though you wonder how you could live without a mobile phone. So you wonder how that was possible. So it's because of this mobile phone now you have lost patience. Patience. Every other minute somebody. We have to say all the time, please switch off your mobile phone. In India there was one phone, Reliance phone. Then we will say, you switch off your mobile phone unless it is Reliance, because it won't ring. So, that was very telling. Yeah, they have to work against that, because that was going wrong. For some time it was not working properly, therefore they started this rumor. Therefore, this is what we have got, means of knowledge. If the self has a certain fact about itself, truth about itself, more than what I know, I have no means of knowing. I am the knower. The knower has to know. That is why this who am I question doesn't work. Because the asker, the one who questions, who am I? Somebody tells this, close your eyes and ask, who am I? If you ask him, who am I? Who am I? Who am I? Who am I? Deep you go. Who am I? And I am asking the question because I don't know. The responsibility of answering is also with me. So I have to answer. I have a question, I answer. Unless there is another Atma sitting there, you have come very near me. You have come very near me. Come, nearer. I will tell you. In your ears I will tell you. Come nearer. Then you can come out and tell, somebody told me inside, Atma told me. That is that. That's what will happen. Because how long you can ask a question, you have to find an answer. Your mind will give you an answer, and then you will come and talk, and afterwards everybody else will be wondering what happened to you. Yeah? It's all wrong approach. Who am I question is wonderful. But where to find the answer? That's the teaching. That is the means of knowledge. And it cannot come from another who am I fellow. Another who am I fellow. It has to come from some other source. If one fellow can figure it out, another fellow can figure it out. Because it's not a figuring out possibility. There is no figuring out possibility. Because the knower has to figure out who I am. That fellow has to fall back. And all the means of knowledge are in front of him. Eyes, ears, inference, everything. How is going to understand? And suppose he is the cause of this entire world, this fellow is so well convinced that he is there because of something. Not, he is the cause of everything. He is not a cause of anything. He is the cause of this jagat and all that, silly. And you are, that means somebody says that, and that it will be taken as a blasphemy. Especially if he is a religious person. Local religious. And therefore, there is no way of figuring out. If there is a source of all knowledge, we will discover that. What is the problem to find out? This is also the same source. We only know it has been there. We look upon it as, therefore, the teaching as a means of knowledge. handled by a teacher. Every teacher has a teacher. And that teacher also had a teacher. And that teacher had a teacher. And then who is the original teacher? Who is not taught. Who is all knowledge, which includes self-knowledge. All that is there is the self. All knowledge is the self. There is no other knowledge, as we will see. And therefore, that source of knowledge alone is the real upadeṣṭā. Upadeṣṭā means teacher. Upadesha kartri, upadeshta. The one who is the teacher. Tam upadeṣṭāram, śrīhariṃ, paramānandamupadeṣṭāramīśvaram, who is the Lord. Immediately Lord means the head goes up. Then the next question, how can Lord teach from there here? How? He's too far? Is there any long distance phone? How can I teach? Don't give location to God. Ishvara, don't give location. If you give location, you get all funny nonsense. And it is nonsense and it is funny also. That's why I said funny nonsense. Like you give a place, a locale for the Lord. Means somewhere above He is there. It should be spatial. Above means spatial. And therefore somewhere He is in one place. And one place means what is that place? You say heaven. Heaven means where? Heaven must be a very big place. It's not one chair alone. Heaven should be a big sphere. We all have to go there. And all the faithful fellows will be sitting there for generations. They have been faithful. So then all the fellows have been there. So fellows who are not here, they are all there. All from primitive onwards. All the fellows. So they have gone there. At that time there was no religion. God cannot condemn them. And therefore, they all free. So they all get free pass and then they all go. Everybody gets admitted. You find all of them. All of them, it should be a huge planet. Heaven is a huge planet. Then you have to find out where is God in that planet. You have to travel by some kind of a plane, heavenly plane, to reach God. And then you have to find out which street He is, which locality, the town, city, everything. And then you go, then be a huge godly mansion, and in which floor He is, and which, because all the devatas are there, His minions are there, angels are there. You have to find out His place. Then which room, and He will be sitting somewhere, and all devotees who wanted to go near God, they are all sitting, and different rows are there. So you did have some gate crash, and then you go there. And what is your place? Your place is at one end. Everybody will have, because so many people. And therefore you have to see the Lord, one dot, glowing Lord. Then you ask, what is that? Your neighbor. I am told he is God. He is God. This is what it will be. Unless there is some camera and things like that, and then you have got all these screens. Then God is sitting there, you are seeing here. So this is what it will be. All funny, idiotic, funny. So this is why I said nonsense funny, funny nonsense, okay? And it is all just, we have to drop all this nonsense. If they say God is in heaven, we have to find out what that meaning is. Don't take it literal. There may be some meaning. Heaven may be standing for some sukham, some happiness or whatever. God in His own happiness, śrīhariṃ, in His own glory He lives, you can say that. But you have to find the meaning. If you take literally, what would be the consequence? That is called thinking. Purvaparam. What will happen? If this happens, what will happen? You have to think through the whole thing. And it's all funny afterwards. And therefore, here the word vyāpakaṃ. Who is all? Who is all pervasive, inside, outside? There is nothing outside Ishvara. Vyāpakaṃ upadeṣṭāramīśvaram vyāpakaṃ sarvalokānāṃ. You can take all spheres. Lokas, you can take heaven, and something above heaven, 7 up you can take, 7 down you can take. Sarvalokānāṃ vyāpakaṃ. Out of Ishvara there is nothing existent. And every existent thing is Ishvara. Because He is sarva kāraṇaṃ. Cause of everything, effect is never separate from the cause. So that means He is the maker, He is the material, and everything is Ishvara. Sarvalokānāṃ vyāpakaṃ kāraṇaṃ tam namāmyaham. Why vyāpakaṃ? Kāraṇatvaṃ. Kāraṇaṃ, being the cause, both material and maker. Kāraṇaṃ, it's all Vedanta. Tam aham namāmi. Mahavakya is there, whole Vedanta Shastram is there, Prakriya is there, the methodology is there, everything is there. That's tradition. śrīhariṃ paramānandamupadeṣṭāramīśvaram vyāpakaṃ sarvalokānāṃ kāraṇaṃ tam namāmyaham aparokṣānubhūtirvai procyate mokṣasiddhaye sadbhireṣā prayatnena vīkṣaṇīyā muhurmuhuḥ. This book is entitled Aparokṣānubhūtiḥ. Anubhūtiḥ, immediate knowledge. Not as an object, as yourself. The self is aparoksha. Aparokṣasya Anubhuti. There are 3 things in knowledge. One is direct knowledge, direct perception, pratyaksha. What is indirectly known, inference, is called paroksha. Pratyaksha and paroksha. Direct knowledge, indirect knowledge. Atma is what? Direct knowledge or indirect knowledge? Direct knowledge is knowledge gained by your senses. Indirect knowledge is one arrived at by inference from the sensory data. Even Big Bang theory, it is perception. With a huge telescope, the perception you see light coming from light years away. 12 billion light years away. 12 billion years light travels, that is the distance. Through this huge telescope. Where is it? In California? Hubble? They see?
In space.
And from this, they arrive at this theory of Big Bang. It is perception based. Pure eyes, these eyes become so important. Through eyes alone they see all this. That's given. The possibility of telescope given, and those stars are given, the clusters and the light traveling, the light travel, the speed and all that given. And the eyes can pick up light also is given, eyes are given, sight takes place, and inference, not one step, hundreds of steps of inference, and you come up with a theory. Very valid theory. And therefore, all your knowledge is either direct or indirect. Both the forms of knowledge, both these types of knowledge are for the knower, correct? The knower has these two pieces, two types of knowledge, direct and indirect. And then only you can say it is. You can say, is this light coming from such a distance is. You can say that. And therefore, without knowledge, you cannot say a thing is. Now if I ask you, the knower is there as a knower. Now, this person, this self, is or not? This person who is the knower, is or not? Is. How do you know it is? How do you know it is? Before knowing you are there. Before knowing you are there, the self is self-revealing. That is called na parokṣam aparokṣam. Neither direct or indirect, it is aparokṣam, self-evident, Atma. You will see that more. This self-evident being called as aham Atma, Anubhuti, immediate knowledge of this self-evident Atma, Aparoksha Anubhuti, is, which is the title, which is the subject matter, both. The book is the subject matter. The title of the book is the subject matter, Aparoksha Anubhuti, Aparokṣātma, knowledge of Aparokṣātma, self-evident Atma. Procyate Anubhutirvai, indeed, procyate is taught properly, uchyate is said. Procyate is said properly, means repeatedly, procyate mokṣasiddhaye, for one to gain moksha. Self-knowledge and moksha, sadhana sadhya sambandha. Self-knowledge you have, moksha you have. Self-knowledge you don't have, no moksha. Therefore, travel is not moksha. Heaven travel is not moksha. It is another travel. Self-knowledge you must have. Suppose I go to heaven and then get self-knowledge. And it's not heaven. Self-knowledge is moksha. Eating will appease your hunger. Here itself you eat, it will appease hunger. So should I go and then to that town and eat, and will it appease my hunger? Okay. Eating appeases your hunger, you can go Timbuktu. Eating appeases your hunger. Self-knowledge gives you moksha. Mokṣasiddhaye. For gaining, that is the result. That is the phala. I want to be free. Moksha is freedom. Freedom from being a wanting person, confused person. For this, clarity about yourself you must have. What is accomplishment without knowing what you are? And then the confused fellow goes about knowing a lot of things. What is this? Talakirke. Therefore, one has to gain self-knowledge. Mokṣasiddhaye. Aparokṣa Anubhuti procyate. Aparokṣa Anubhuti is moksha. Means an end. And therefore, vīkṣaṇīyā sa aparokṣānubhūtiḥ. Vīkṣaṇīyā. It has got to be seen, looked into again and again. The meaning of all these words has to be seen by you, muhurmuhuḥ, again and again, by the people who want to know. Sadbhireṣā. Sadbhireṣā, the word. People who are ready, who live a life of dharma, the people who are compassionate. And they are called Satpurushaha. Sadbhireṣā. By those people who live a life of dharma and who seek this knowledge, sadbhireṣā, mokṣaniya, vīkṣaṇīyā yeva. This book has to be looked into. Muhurmuhuḥ, again and again, until you gain the knowledge of this aparokṣātma. Then he says prayatnena. What is this prayatna? Effort. Effort means, so go, if you don't understand, go to persons who can teach you. That is a prayatna. Proper, adequate. So, with the help of a teacher, prayatnena, vīkṣaṇīyā. This is the beginning. Then we have to start with the 59th, 60th verse. So we will start from this 60th verse. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavasishyate Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om Sri Gurubhyo Namah Harihi Om